Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. Photoshop Steve. Today, we're obviously just going to continue my UFC fighter Photoshop nonsense. And one of my favorite fighters right here, as you can see, is Matt the Terra Serra. If you don't know this already, I've mentioned this before, either through social media or even through these little ridiculous tutorials I'm doing. That every person that I Photoshop, especially UFC, MMA, mixed martial arts of any kind, just want to let you know these are people that I like. I don't do this for anyone I do not like because, as you can imagine, the amount of time I have to look at someone's face, minutes or however long I want to spend on it. If I don't like someone, why would I want to look at their face? So, to that answer, it's only people that I like and respect. Despite how this looks in the end, I just want to let you know that up front. That being said, Matt the Terra Serra, this guy's awesome. I've always respected him. I respect all the fighters, but he's just someone I just always respected. I don't know. I just like his style. Just tells it like it is. He's a blunt guy, and I appreciate that. But here we are. We're in November, closing in on Thanksgiving actually tomorrow. But beyond that, what I like to do is I like to think of the holiday season. And with that being said, one of my favorite holiday movies, Christmas movies, for example, as regardless of my age, ever since I was younger, since it came out, Home Alone has been it's always been one of my top 10 Christmas movies. And in particular, Joe Pesci, and as you would like to know, here he is, the Wet Bandit. And today we're going to make Matt Serra, Joe Pesci's Wet Bandit character. So I got two pictures that I want. You can scour the internet. As you know me, because I do so many of these, I have a database, folder on the computer full of different fighters and folks already saved. This happens to be one of them. And from that, it's just a matter of trying to find the exact face or positioning of the face that I want to use in the picture. I found this one on the left right here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this because I've already made the selection of what I want to use. I'm going to copy it. Like I said, I'm using a Mac, so Command-C to copy. I'm actually going to close this so we can just focus on the one screen. And here we are right there. And I'm going to drop them in right here. Okay. Now what I like to do, as you know, is I like to try and basically see where my opacity, I lower the opacity to see where I'm looking, or what roughly how his face is in lines with Joe Pesci's. It's decent. I can manipulate it however. And from there, I would make my mask down here, my layer mask of this layer, of this image on the layer. Let me zoom in a little. And I just start coloring away. What I did, as you can see the layer above this, I already started. So I'm going to basically continue where I left off. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the trash because I already have it. And basically what I've done so far, aside from coloring away the areas I don't need, I reduced or changed the hue and saturation. Okay, to kind of get it close. Sometimes with these pictures and any pictures, 8 out of 10 times I'm not gonna hit my mark in the end. There's gonna be a little, it's gonna be noticeable. But 2 times out of the 10, I just jackpot. I can actually get the picture exactly the way I want it and look pretty believable. And that has to do with the qualities of the pictures that I'm using. This picture, the original Wet Bandit picture, it's not the best quality. As you can see, it's a little kind of grainy in areas. This is also at 200% right now, so when I reduce it back to the original, not going to be so grainy. That being said, I grabbed a picture of Matt Serra, and from there I'm just going to adjust it. Now, if you tuned into any of the other videos I put up, there's only several right now on my YouTube channel. It is basically to explain that it's trial and error. Um, Very rarely am I able to get the exact look on the first try. So it's playing with a lot of these different fills down here, or adjustment layers. And so what I did now is, like I said, I held down the Option or the Alt key. Okay, when I want to work on specific layer, when this one is the face, and while I'm holding it, I select what I want to use or what I want to select. In this case, I'm gonna go for brightness and contrast. Once you select this on the very first time on any layer, it's always going to be checked, and that's what you want to make sure there is a check, because again, whatever you're working on, whatever fill or adjustment layer you're doing, is going to affect the layer itself. If this was not checked, whatever you do would affect that layer and everyone below it. So be conscious of that. And you can tell that there's like a little downward arrow to confirm that this is the layer that it's going to be working on right here. Okay, so now that I have the brightness and contrast, it's just a matter of playing around with the different colors. Now here it is. Over here, he's Joe Pesci's darker, right in the area. It's very dark. So this may or may not be how I want it to look. This I don't really like it because it's actually bringing everything dark. However, the contrast is good. I like the contrast to be a little on the lower side because, the higher the contrast, as you can see, it brings out a lot of the skin differences or the color of the photo differences. I don't want all that because I'm gonna chip away at some of that. So I'm gonna kind of keep this on the lower side, anything in the negative area. The brightness I would reduce or just keep it 0, personally, on this particular picture. Every picture is different. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I have those basic fills. Now what I'm going to reduce or color in. Making sure I have my mask set. Make sure it's on the mask itself and not the picture. Make sure this is black, and painting away, which is reducing, taking away from it. I'm going to lower the opacity of the brush so I'm not taking away too much at once. And just kind of go around at it until you find an area that that you're comfortable with. And you can always go back to see what the original picture looks like. That's the good thing about it. You see these feathers here. These feathers I will bring them back in, but I just want to focus on Matt's face right now. I'm actually going to grab another layer fill. This time I may use the vibrance and lower the saturation of the picture of Matt's face. Let's see where I want it. Right, that's good there. Now, once I know that I'm not really going to adjust the fills that I've already done at any point, I always have two options. Keep them, or you can collapse them into the picture. And by collapsing it, basically what I'm going to do is just Command E, and that takes every of those fills layers and put it here. So this is now the picture. There's no adjustments. This is now what it looks like. I'll grab my my burn tool, lower my exposure, and I'll look at the original picture. So you see a lot of darkness over here. Oops. And I'll start just trying to darken it up a little. And again, save as you go, and just keep that in mind. You don't want to go through so many steps and then lose it. You want to make sure you save it on a regular basis. All right. Now Matt's face, I try not. I can adjust Matt's face and make it actually bigger. But part of what I like about this is two things. The coat looks like it's very puffy, and it will give the impression that he's wearing an oversized coat. Now, whether or not he is or not in the movie, it looks like more like it fits Joe Pesci as opposed to, for some reason, him. But again, that's just me. That's just my, the way my mind is looking at this. It's kind of funny that I'm trying to be so like, matter of fact about a stupid picture, because in the end, this is just nonsense. But for those that are interested in learning, I'm gonna try and be as professional about it as possible. Okay, so here we go. Back to the picture. Now, another thing I'll do is, and I will do this here, once I pretty much have used the amount of fills and adjustment layers that I want, I'm gonna start coloring. I'm gonna add a layer, and I'm gonna actually color. Okay, bring some color. And to do that, I'll remove Matt Serra's face. I'll grab my brush. On a Mac, I'm holding down the Option key to bring out the eyedropper tool. Okay, to pick the color that I may want. Okay, I think I'm going to use that one, whatever this ends up being. Okay, bring Matt back. And make sure, again, you're on the original layer. And I'm going to go down to color in this case. The opacity of my brush is always going to be 100 when I start coloring, but the opacity of the actual layer can be lower, okay? Because you can always adjust it and it'll take effect. All right. Now, as you can see, this color, okay, is making him almost like a faded gray. So one of two things: either I chose the wrong color and I have to adjust that, which is fine, or I can maybe go to a different blend. Now, again, that's not soft light's really not great for this, unless, like I said, I bring the opacity of the layer down enough. So let me do this. I'm going to bring it down to 28%, and I'm just going to start coloring Matt's face. Okay. And don't worry about if you go on to the rest of the picture, because that can always be adjusted. You can always erase that out. Okay. And again, the reason I had told you this, and I mentioned this yesterday, and just in case you didn't see the other video, when you have this opacity set lower than 100, it's basically going to, like, every time you overlap it, it's that much more color on it, and it's going to look uneven. Where if you keep it at 100, it's never gonna overlap. It's going to be at full strength, but it's going to be the same all the way around. Okay. All right. So I got some color in there. Now, what I try to pay attention to also is some shadowing. So what I'll do now is, instead of going to my burn tool and kind of burn areas of his face to make it darker, I'm afraid that it will get almost orangey. So I'm gonna add another layer, and I'm gonna make it a. All right, I'm gonna put this down here. I'm gonna reverse this in case I ever need this color again. And I'm gonna use a darker color down here. Almost, it could be black. It could be like, whatever in this area. Okay, but here's the thing. When you're adding a shadow, what I do for these two areas up here, I know I just said a moment ago, keep it at 100. Okay, if you're going to do a one-time swipe and it's not going to matter, you can drop the opacity here and drop the flow to around the same thing in this area. Okay, doesn't have to be exact, but right around. So now I'm going to look at Pesci's face again, and now I'm going to try and mimic as much as I can of Matt Serra's face. Okay, to see where we go now. All right. Now, obviously, this looks ridiculous. I know. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to drop the opacity down. Okay? And if I still don't like it, I always have a couple options. I can change this to multiply. Okay? And then see what that looks like. All right? I can change it to multiply, and I can lower the opacity a little. Now, I kind of like this because it's still kind of dark, but it's not taking too much away. And it's not adding too much, okay? Because I don't want it. I want it to kind of look like, all right, in the movie, if you remember, he was kind of beaten up at this point. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that I'm, I don't want the face to stand out, Matt Serra's face to stand out too much. I want people to know it's him, but without so much, without it being so obvious. So here we go. All right. Now, the good thing, again, like I said, this is a layer. If I say, hey, forget it, I can just erase the whole layer. I can hide it. I can reduce the opacity. See, layering is the important thing because you can always change one thing without affecting anything else. All right. Now, I'm gonna go a little more color over here. All right. Now there we are. Now, I'm gonna hide the coloring I just did just to see. All right. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of blur matte out just a little. Two ways of doing this. Grab your blur tool, set the strength to however high or low you want it, or while making sure the actual picture is selected, not the layer mask, you go up to your filter, blur, choose a blur. Gaussian blur is pretty decent, you know, and you can actually see what the effect would be as you go ahead. And plus you'll actually see it on the photo because I set it to preview so you can actually see it, what it would look like. My suggestion is keep it low, all right? And I'm gonna reverse it for 1 second, see what the original, okay? This looks a little more in line with the quality of the picture because you can see it's a little blurred out. And the thing with this is now you can, if you want to keep adding slowly, you can just repeat the filter. You know what I mean? And again, with the Mac, it's Command F. Window people, it's whatever else and probably F also. So I don't know both platforms. And again, I don't know everything about Photoshop. I just know what I need to use. So there's probably 15 ways of doing every single thing, and most likely even easier than the ways I do them. That's fine. Whatever you're comfortable with. This is what I'm comfortable with. And since, you know, I'm trying to show you how I do it, it's only fair that I show you the way I do it. So there you go. Now, what I'm going to do again with Matt's face, okay? I want to go back again, holding down my Alt key, my fill, and I'm going to go into my hue and saturation again. And I just want to see if I can just kind of bring down his saturation just a bit. Okay. Now I want to see what it looks like before I did it. Not much has changed, so I might as well just see. I'm gonna keep what I had. So I'll go back. And now I'm just gonna slowly. Now I'm gonna fade out the coloring. Okay, I'm gonna lower my opacity of my brush to like 11%. Make sure his face, I'm on the layer mask. And again, I'm gonna color. When I say color, when it's on the black, I'm actually erasing. So that's what that is. And this is where you can spend, you know, as much or as little time trying to make it as legitimate or as real looking as you want. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hide his face. Okay, my background. I always make a copy of my background. I'm glad I noticed this because I usually do it first. So, all right, and I'm going to grab my lasso tool, and I'm just going to make some copies of these feathers. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it on top of his face. Okay, on the top layer above all the colors. Okay, and I'm going to do that for every one I think it's necessary that I use, you know, for the picture. So the one over here, and there's eye. Yeah. Now, I didn't line up his eyes with Pesci's eyes for a couple reasons. Number one, I really want Matt Serra to be noticed, you know, by people when they're looking at it. So that's why I didn't really line up his eyes, like, you know, I would probably do more times than not. So that, in case you're wondering, or even probably didn't even notice, but that's the reasoning for that. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, see how I'm coming along so far. You know, again, everybody has their own strengths. I mean, if you're an artist, and I don't really consider myself one, you can really make it pop with the right shading and shadows and brightness. You know, that's really good. I just do enough. to get by. I don't spend too much time on this. All right. But what I will do now, lower my opacity of my eraser tool on this layer, and I'll just kind of erase some of the areas I think maybe I hit it too hard. Okay. All right. So let me erase these layers just to see where we are. Okay. Okay. Now I'll lower the opacity of that color. All right. Let me see where we are here. Okay. So basically, an idea. This photo, probably because of my talking, probably took me a little longer than I would have if I was doing it on my own, without the recording equipment and me blabbering. So I'm gonna play around with this a little more, and when I post it, you guys will see the finished product. And what I'll do is, when I make this video, at the very end, I will actually post the photo after this video that you're watching right now. So after I shut this down and I post it, the last image will be my final product. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little nonsense demonstration, and look forward to doing it again. Have a nice day.